So Carl said his biggest story of 2024 is Texas will go undefeated first year in the SEC, and they'll win the first national championship of the 12-team playoff era. That would be a really big story, really big story. Of course, we would get the Cant crowd out there, Cant culture, if you will. Cant culture is currently focused on Sark and Texas because they can't focus on Harbaugh and Michigan anymore. It used to be Harbaugh can't win a big one at Michigan, and then he did. Turns out he could the whole time. He just hadn't. And now Cant culture has gone to Austin, Texas, and Sark can't get it done. Sark can't win a title. Well, of course he can, and he may very well do it. Maybe he'll do it this year. There are window teams and there are mainstay teams. Think about Washington last year. Washington built over a couple of year stretch to a period where they could take their shot. TCU 2 years ago was a team that built over a multi-year period to take their shot. They almost won a title. Well, TCU got to the title game. Washington got there and was competitive, but in the end, the point is those are not programs that are mainstay programs. They're not the reload over rebuild types. They do have to rebuild. Texas doesn't have to. Texas has entered that rarefied air in our sport where they can take their best shot, and if they win a title, fine. If they lose to Washington in the semifinals, fine. They'll have an excellent chance to do it again the next year. So this could be an evergreen prediction. Keep saying it, like predicting Saban's retirement. Keep predicting it every year, because eventually you'll get it right. Keep predicting this, because Texas is going to have a shot every year. But I will say the prediction wasn't just, oh, Texas is going to win the title. They're going to go undefeated and win the title. Now, that's one, ironically, I have a tougher time getting on board with. You could probably sell me on Texas winning the title quicker than you could, oh, they're going to go undefeated. This whole concept of going undefeated has started to be taken for granted because a lot of teams did it. Over the past decade or so, we had multiple undefeated national champs, and it's not easy to do. I don't care how easy teams made it look. It's not easy to do, and especially with either Big Ten or SEC teams, the increase in difficulty level of your random schedule any given year, and then combine that with what you got to go through in the playoff. Now, obviously, the champ will be undefeated in the playoff, but I'm a believer that what it's going to take to make it through that playoff actually could be paired up with putting yourself in the best possible position to do by suffering a loss during the season. And that's not always the case, but those teams that lose and have no margin for error or far less margin for error, we've seen them fall off a cliff, but other times we've seen them really surge at the end of the year. Nobody is mentioning something now that they used to mention all the time. With Steve Sarkisian, I'm going to put on some lip balm. Like, do you remember? How about coconut and pear, Burt's Bees, by the way. Still not paying a dime for advertisement, but I'm that in love with the flavors they've got right now. You know what I haven't heard lately? I haven't heard anything about Sark's time at Washington. I haven't heard anything about Sark's time at Southern Cal. I haven't heard anything about his brief stint with the Falcons. I haven't heard anything about his off-the-field issues. And the reason I haven't heard those things is because they're winning. In other words, they're doing things, and he's doing things at Texas that I was told he can't do. And I'm very happy about it because I have an age-old theory on the show that what has been doesn't always have to be what will be or what is. I am a believer that sometimes the more talented and the more driven amongst us tend to learn lessons from doing it the wrong way or doing it the less effective way. And they are the least motivated to ever try and do it that way again if they get other opportunities. Sark is very good. He is a rare commodity as an offensive mind. Okay, so he's going to get more opportunities than your average guy or girl would. What's he done with them? He's made the most of it. So that alone makes me happy. If it correlates with them winning it all in 2024, so be it. Championship is where, Jesse? Atlanta? I think they had such a shot this past year. Think about how perfectly it lined up for Texas. You got the semifinal in New Orleans against a team that's halfway to Alaska, and then you've got the final in Houston. It didn't happen. Doesn't mean it can't happen.